there is for the purpose of serving the customer. So for however long they need to determine what they want to buy, then you have to be physically and mentally present for that. So I take this opportunity to welcome you back to this channel, and I'm grateful for the kind of support that I receive from you in terms of your viewership, in terms of sharing my videos, and even telling people about this channel. And so today, without much wasting time, I'll get right on to the point, which is how I'm able to boost sales in my shop. So I'll just like to say that no one is born doing these things. Personally, I've never even dreamt about being a shopkeeper, but then when the thought crossed my mind and I decided to start, I started in a very small way, and I can attest that you learn along the way. So some of the things that I've learned, I'd like to share with you so that you can also try to implement in your shop. If you are a small retailer like myself, you can try using these tips if you're not using them already, so that you see if they can be of benefit to you and if they can also boost your sales. So karibu sana and thank you. And so the first thing that I discovered about running a retail shop is lighting. Lighting has to be perfect or near perfect. You realize that if the lighting is poor, it means that it is not attractive from a side. So what I did initially, I didn't have a good lighting because number one, there was no ceiling board, and you know, ceiling board, being that it is white, usually it reflects light, whether it is during the day or at night. So I tried within my means and I installed the ceiling board, then I had it painted white. So that means that at night it reflects the artificial light that you use, which is a fluorescent tube, and during the day enough light comes in from the entrance way, so it makes the shop visible. Aside from just lighting, your choice of colors, especially at the entrance, will make a huge difference for how the appearance of your shop looks like. I realized that some people use fairly dark colors like black. Initially what we used to have here was black at the entrance. As I've shown you, you realize that they are now white. So white is somehow very, it speaks a lot, so someone notices it from afar. And then as far as lighting is concerned, I also avoid putting a lot of things at the entrance way. You've seen the clip that I've inserted. The entrance or the front part of the shop is usually very clear, so that even if someone passes from afar, they are able to see right inside the shop. So I avoided the counter that is usually at the entrance. I also avoided hanging a lot of snacks and things like is usually custom for many retail shops. So that ensures that lighting gets into the shop very well, and potential customers and even customers who are coming to buy are able to see clearly what is in the shop. Yeah. And then the second thing that I also ensure is that I arrange the items in a very particular manner so that they are visible. Now that I've worked on lighting, I make sure that the items I'm selling or the stock are visible, and then they are well arranged. So for them to be visible, it means that you have to arrange things in a particular order. I'm sure you've seen how people in supermarkets do arrange their items. Of course, they arrange things according to brand, and then they also arrange according to the most famous items. You know, there's a particular brand that usually moves faster than the others. So they strategically put these things at a visible place where people can see. And so in a very small way, I also try to emulate the same, as you can see now. And so by making sure that visibility is good, then that boosts my sales. I can say that because I've realized that when customers come to the front part and they're able to see those things, sometimes they've just come to buy, for example, bread, and then they realize, is that soap? Is that toilet soap? Then can I have it? How much is this? So without me exposing them means that she could not have bought it, but because they've just seen it, even though they had not come to buy that particular thing, then now they've bought it, and that is a boosted sale for me. So yeah. And then something else that I do is that I make sure I arrange the items right next to the edge of the shelf. So you realize that if there is tissue, for example, let me just show you a very practical example. I make sure that the items are right next at the edge of the shelf. And so you realize that if you arrange these items right next to the edge of the shelf, the appearance is boosted and the general outlook of the shop looks very attractive and appealing. Then this sticks in the customers' minds, and if they think of a shop, they think of your shop. Then that boosts your sales. Then before I move along too far, when you talk about visibility, also make sure that you brand you group your items according to the nature of the items you are selling. Allow me to show you on the shelves again. So you see that this section is generally isolated for toiletries. You'll notice that right from the top I have diapers over here. They're not very well arranged. Sometimes you get toiletries around here. So I have this tissue paper, assorted tissue paper according to the brands. And then right at the end over there, you realize that I have these are called baby wipes. And then let me move closer. And then at this very extreme end, I have detergents in bigger and smaller varieties. Then I also make sure that the name of the item is clearly exposed to the side where the customer can see. So like this one is not in order, right there, so that they know exactly what they're seeing. Yeah, same to this section here is now medication. We have some painkiller tablets, and then of course we move on to the sanitary towels, like that. Then I group them according to the brand, so you realize this is a different brand from this one. Something else I make sure that I do is to put price tags on each of the items so that they are visible to the customer. You see, if it is this item, you know very well it is 100. This one helps if it is visible enough, the customer can see even before asking, so that they are mentally prepared. Even as much as you might be discussing other things, they become mentally prepared if they want to buy that thing or not. So most of the time I just write the prices somewhere where they can see. Like in this case, you see, this is 40 shillings, 40, this is 30. It also assists whoever is working in the shop. If it is myself, you know, sometimes I work an 8 to 5 job. So sometimes I come back and I'm not very focused. I sometimes forget the prices. But if it is listed like that, then I'm able to quickly read if someone asks, and then I tell them price without necessarily making them to wait for too long. Also, this one also helps me when I have new stuff in the shop. So they are comfortable. They are able to tell prices even though they may not be used to being in the shop for that long. Yeah. The next wonderful idea that I want to share with you is spacing. Many a times you go to some retail shops and you realize that there are a lot of gaps in between. Like behind me, you realize that I'm putting these items very close to each other. Aside from being on the edge, as I talked about before, I put them right next to each other so that there is no space in between. It does not mean that I have everything I need in this shop. No. If you look closely, you'll realize that this is the biggest unga for 2 kgs, and then I'm missing the 1 kg one. For one reason or the other, you may not have some stock in your shop, but don't leave gaps. So make sure they are put very close to each other so that the impression is that the shop is fully stocked. And when the customers feel like the shop is fully stocked, they keep coming. They even have over expectations on you because they feel like, that shop is usually full. Some of the things you may not be having, but just because they have, humans and perspective, yeah, so you play around perspective. And then on the same note, if you sell one thing, make sure it is replaced immediately. Don't wait to replace stuff in the evening. So for example, you take out this flour, you replace it immediately, so that there is no gap left at any given point. You don't know your magic hour. Maybe that hour when you're leaving gaps on the shelves is the hour when, they say you don't know when Jesus is coming, Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that Jesus is coming, but maybe it's your miracle hour. Maybe a customer is coming to buy a lot of things and they get the perception that, this shop is empty, let's just go somewhere. And in the current world, people don't have a lot of patience. People don't have a lot of patience. No one will take time asking, do you have this and this and this? Yet they've already made up their mind that probably it is not there. So just put it there so that when they come, they see, then they are convinced that probably it is here. You will hear them asking about things that you've never even stocked. Then take note. That is also another point. Yeah. Every time someone comes and asks for something that you've never stocked, make sure that you write it down, and the next time you go to buy items, you buy it and stock it, even if it is in small quantities. Then the other thing that I like to talk about is variety. I want to say that you should try to stock as much variety as you can. Don't be afraid. Like recently I walked into one of the distributor shops that I usually buy my stuff from, and I found things that I never stocked before, like this handkerchief. And then I realized, being that my small retail shop is right next to a road, sometimes on days like on Sundays you find people walking back from church in the late afternoon hours, and probably the sun is shining as hot as it is today. Then they come and ask for things like handkerchiefs. Instead of saying you don't have them, even if they are slow moving, you can try and stock them so that you don't sell hakuna. Yeah, hakuna means we don't have that one. So that will be a bonus for you. Things like this, you just find somewhere and hang them so that you have variety. In case someone asks for something, you are able to sell. Also things like this, don't be afraid to stock things that you have a feeling may not move. Something funny with a small retail shop, I've discovered that people expect to find anything and everything. I think that is why people from the past used to call these retail shops a general store, because you'll find things like this. This is a brush that is used to wash the toilets. Yeah, so you find a variety of things, from cooking sticks to, if you can stock those things, just do. You do not know what will sell. And the moment people realize that you usually have a certain things, they will make it come. And then I also want to say that you need to go extra. I'd like to show you one way that I go extra in some of the things that And then one other thing that I'd like to tell you, another point that will help you boost sales in your small retail shop, is that you need to play smart. What do I mean when I say you need to play smart? What I do in terms of playing smart is that I make sure that I have different brands of the same product at different prices. Let's say, for example, I've bought cooking flour for ugali. If you are Kenyan, you know ugali is a staple food in Kenya, and you do not want to miss such a product from in your shop. So now when I bring cooking flour, I make sure that I have at least 3 different brands at a time. So instead of buying, of course, I consider the most famous brand, which is a reality. People prefer one brand over the other for multiple reasons. But then I make sure that the most common brand is there. And then I put an extra brand that is, is quite famous, and then another brand of the same category. Maybe one very famous brand and then 2 others that are familiar but not very fast moving. Let us use something like tissue paper. So as I was telling you, you have very many brands of the same item in the market. You can have this tissue paper, then there's also this type, and then there's this type. So what I do, depending on my buying price, for example, I target maybe 5 to 7 shillings per item. So when I set the price for this one, of course it will be the highest, because I know it is the most famous brand in this category, in the high ranking category. And then there's this other type that is famous, fast moving, but also considered affordable. So I make sure that this is the most affordable one and it is available. And then this other one, I may choose to put a medium price for it. And then this one now, I put the highest price. So that the 3 brands are represented of the same item. And then someone will not shy away from buying because they feel like probably one is too expensive. So they decide. If they want this one, some people are very purposeful. They come and say, give me that one. But some people want to play about with the prices. So they feel like this is quality, but is quite affordable. So let's say if this is 40 shillings, I'll sell this one at 30 and this one at 25. So they decide. Then now you accommodate everyone, yet no one goes away with your money because you are there, you want to sell. Yeah. So I play around most of the items in that manner. I can get cooking flour from, let's say, this brand. I'm shying away from showing the brands of unga because I do not want to call them by name. I just wanted to show so that you see, but I hope you've understood what I'm trying to put across using the tissue paper explanation. And then playing smart means that instead of just selling people ordinary drinks at room temperature, I try to make sure that I chill them. So apart from the ordinary Coca-Cola fridge that you usually find in most of the small retail shops, I went a mile ahead and procured my own chiller. I don't know if you can see it. I have my own chiller where I put other products. If you have the Coca-Cola chiller, you cannot put non-Coca-Cola products inside it. So I got a customer. As I was saying, instead of selling these other drinks that cannot be chilled in the Coca-Cola fridge at room temperature, you can, depending on how affordable it is, Karib can save pole pole. Then you get to buy a chiller like this one here. Yes, then now you get to put the non-Coca-Cola drinks inside. Things like this, people like chilled stuff. Just because they are not from a particular brand does not mean that people want to drink them hot, So these ones, I store them here and I've realized it keeps people coming. They come and tell you, give me that one. I want it cold, very cold. Then now when they get it, they're happy and they keep coming. So that is one other smart way that I use to boost my sales. And then one other method that I use to boost sales in terms of playing smart, every time I go to buy my stock, I get to visit other distributors that I'm not frequent at. So I get to see what they have. Sometimes they surprise you because you find products that have never been in the market from the kind of distributors you've been buying from. So I'd like to show you a particular example that is basically centered around children. Yes, so children are used to a particular type of candy. You know, they've been conditioned to particular types of candy. For example, some of the cornflakes that are usually packed in packets of 10-10, you know them. There are variety in the market. So those ones, you'll find children coming or their parents coming and say, I want those ones. But then, over time, I realized that if I keep checking out what kind of snacks and candies are there, then I get more interesting things that are also fast moving. They are equally fast moving. For example, recently I went where I usually buy, and then I took time to visit other distributors and I found this. So this is something that is very famous. I've realized that once I've introduced this to children, then they like it and they keep buying it. And you know how nagging children can be sometimes, especially to their parents. So now you find even parents coming and they give you a report. You know, my child said there's something here. There's a juice in a container that is a shotgun. So this is it. And it's a fast moving item, if I can say. So if you're wondering what to stock for the children in your shop, this is one of the things you should consider. Then instead of ordinary candy like this one, instead of always stocking ordinary lollipops like these ones, you can go a mile ahead and explore. Recently I found this type of candy, this type of lollipop. See, they are even attractive and they are packed in a way that is very visible, unlike these ones usually come in packets. So these ones for display is quite troublesome, but they are famous, so some children just come and ask for them. But this one, I've realized that if I put it at a place that is very visible, they come and they see it's very attractive. So they just see and ask, how much is that? Can I get maybe 2 or 3? And then before you realize it, you are really selling. So, and selling is what puts you there. Don't be very conservative that you keep stocking the same kind of items over and over again. Keep exploring. That is what I mean when I say play smart. So keep exploring. You'll find things that maybe are fast moving more than the ones that you've been stocking traditionally, and then that will help you boost your sales. Even things like this. Instead of just stocking the ordinary sweets and biscuits, you can go an extra mile and put these ones. They don't cost much. This one retail price is 20 shillings, same to this one. And you find that children most of the time have between 5 shillings to 20 shillings, so they may be able to buy these ones from your shop. Yes, a lot of talking, but I'm glad that the message is passed. Yeah, and then finally, this cannot be overstressed. You just have to serve your clients with a lot of courtesy. Courtesy does not mean that you pretend to be nice to them, especially if you're in a bad mood. You know, sometimes you are tired, but that does not mean that you do not welcome you. Personally, I find it very easy to tell a customer karibu. You know, a customer can tell when you're being artificial. You can go to someone's shop and just because they want to play nice, they tell you karibu, but you don't feel like they are really welcoming you. So you should try to train yourself. It is possible to train yourself so that you are welcoming and you have a good demeanor. You know, a face that a customer likes to look at. Not necessarily a pretty face, if I may say, but you know, a welcoming demeanor. Even your body language, you can tune it in a way that your customer feels like their presence is appreciated. Let me tell you, for example, assuming I was using my phone and then someone came, I would want to stand up immediately so that they see, you know, what your body language communicates when you stand immediately. A customer comes into the entrance is that I'm ready for you. Unlike if you go into someone's shop and they're busy scrolling on their phone and the customer is already at the entrance and you are still scrolling, your body language already communicates that you are not really interested in this customer. And that is the perception that they get. And if they are the kind of customers I know, they'll never come back to your shop again. But when someone comes and already you are up and welcoming them, you know, even before you say karibu, your body language has communicated that you are welcome, and they find that genuine, and then they feel welcome for real, then they are ready to buy from your shop. And then when they go, you tell them thank you. You tell them thank you. over time you find that it is a tradition that is, you don't even think twice about it. And of course I say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I feel like if I remember the first days that I got into business in this small retail shop, and I will sit a whole day and serve maybe just 2 customers, and it will be a pain for me. It will make me nervous, because I will ask myself, will these customers really come? Is this the kind of side hustle that I want to do? But now that they're coming, God has brought the customers and they're flowing in my shop. Why can't I thank them? Because it is because of them that I'm here. So you can train yourself so that you are able to appreciate your customers. It makes you feel good about yourself. It makes you feel good about your business, and the customer feels good about themselves. Yeah, so that cannot be overstressed. Another thing I can talk about as an extra is patience. Some customers come to the shop and they are not even sure about what they want to buy, especially if it is a snack for the baby or things that are going to be used as gifts for someone else. So you have to be patient. Sometimes they ask you, what do you have? You know, if depending on how you look at that statement, some people can perceive it as rude. So when you get such kind of customers who are not sure of what they want to buy, so you must have the patience to understand that your presence there is for the purpose of serving the customer. So for however long they need to determine what they want to buy, then you have to be physically and mentally present for that. So now that defines how patient you can be. Sometimes you find someone that has not made up their mind about what they want to buy, and other customers want to flow in. So your body language should not portray something like, you are being rude to them. You are like, their presence there is inconveniencing the other customers. You just tell them, yeah, buy. She's still making up her mind. So welcome, just come on, buy. Just tell me what you need, I'll serve you. So that none of the customers feel like one is more important than the other. Then on that note, there are also some customers who are quite chatty, They want to discuss about the weather with you a bit. They want to discuss about theft cases in the area. So you have to accommodate these ones so that you are not very chatty with them, so that you forget serving the other customers, but you don't ignore them. You just be kind enough so that they understand, I'm busy, yes, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, so it's just a mental game that you play here and there, a bit of psychological. Something that I must mention that has been very helpful to me in this journey is that I get to read a lot of books. Initially, I was a bit skeptical about self-help books, but I've been getting books about, public speaking skills. How do you get to converse with people in a way that you attract their attention and they're ready to listen? So that is not about you standing in a podium somewhere and talking to people. It helps you. Public speaking helps you even in a small retail shop like this one. And I'm grateful that I think such books are quite important. If you can access 1 or 2, nowadays you do not have to buy hard copies. You can access soft copies of books from online forums. I'm lucky to be in one such forum. If you are interested, you can just reach me in the Gmail address that has been provided in the description box, and then you'll be added into such groups where you can access books, e-books easily, so that you empower yourself. And with those many remarks, I'd like to end this video here. I hope it is helpful to you, and I hope that you realize maximum sales in your small retail shop, and even in any other small retail business that you might be handling. And with those many remarks, I thank you for your viewership. Your presence on this channel is most appreciated. So give me a thumbs up if you feel like you have value from this episode, and we catch each other up on the next episode. Bye bye.